Bats are reservoirs of one of the world's most deadly diseases, Ebola, whose fatality rate is more than 50%. But why do some people eat bats? Welcome to Talking Science Africa, a show where we bring you research scientists and innovators in the science space to discuss the work that they are doing and how that work can help us to live better lives. Today we host James Natweta Baguma, the lead author of a recent paper published in PLOS Global Health, which examines the human-bat interaction in the Bundibugyo District, located in midwestern Uganda, on Uganda's border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. James is a research associate who is affiliated with the Department of Disease Control and Environmental Health at the School of Public Health at Makerere University, as well as the Department of Biosecurity, Ecosystems and Veterinary Public Health at the College of Veterinary Medicine, also at Makerere University. James, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for welcoming me, and yeah, I look forward to the quite amazing interaction.
It has been hard to get you. You are as hard to get as bats that you are doing research about.
On the contrary, actually, bats are nocturnals, but you see, as humans, we operate in the limelight. So it is one of the things that where the difference is. But at least finally we have gotten to meet, and yeah, we are going to have quite an amazing interaction.
Thank you. As a journalist, I have written about Ebola when we had the 2022 outbreak in Mubende. I went to Mubende during Ebola.
Yeah.
I have spoken to people who have lost their loved ones. I went to that place. I came across isolation centers. Even during the recent Ebola outbreak in Kampala, I wrote a couple of stories about it. And I was around those places where they are telling you that the Ebola patients are. You can imagine how scared I was, even when I was doing that kind of work.
Yeah.
But your study is very interesting, that it brings into perspective and it gives us a lot of information into the bat-human interaction in Bundibugyo District in midwestern Uganda. So what motivated you to study bats and the human interaction in the Bundibugyo District?
Okay, thank you so much for that. One of the key things that actually triggered me to take on this study, one, I must say zoonotic diseases are actually they cover, I can say, 70% of the new emerging, re-emerging, and infectious diseases that are in Uganda. And I must say the death rate is actually very high for most of these diseases. And now that you have talked even about Ebola, we had in 2020-2021 we had COVID-19 that almost actually locked us down for a year. That was at country level, at continental level, and at global level. It was really massive. And also you talk of diseases like Marburg, which are in the similar stature, that have actually claimed lives of so many people, that have made so many people, so many families, fatherless, motherless, and it has really affected also the economy of Uganda. Dealing with such outbreaks, it is also hard for the country, hard for the health system. Every time this happens, a whole large amount of money is invested into curbing down that outbreak. At some point, they have to bring in experts. They have to employ quite a number of people to put that outbreak down. So the country is really, its resources are tapped into very highly. So what motivated me to do this work, of course, having talked about that, is Bundibugyo. Bundibugyo is a district. You talked about midwestern Uganda. It is a district that has most of it is actually rural. Okay, most of it is rural. Of course, there is also a bit of peri-urban, and a small part of it is urban. But it is, as you said, it is located at the border, near the border of DRC, of which we also know that DRC has also been involved in quite a number of outbreaks. You can even include the mpox, that is monkeypox outbreak. That
we also have an ongoing Ebola outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yes, so the DRC, given its location, is also, at a very high risk of, getting some of these zoonotic diseases, which are very deadly. Yeah, so talking about that, our study was more interested in understanding why are our communities actually behaving like this, and yet they get the news that the things are really happening, but then they seem to be unbothered.
Let's dive into the ingredients of your study, which are very interesting. So your study found that more than half of the respondents that you interviewed are exposed to bats.
Yeah.
Did this surprise you?
Of course, to a greater extent, yeah, because this is really backed by facts. And I must say, the modes of exposure to bats are quite many. We put quite a number of them into consideration. One is some of these people have these bats in their houses. Okay, they have bats in their houses. When you enter someone's house, you actually realize that clearly you can see bats. Those are some of the ways we realize they are exposed. Some of them have them in their compounds. If you have quite a number of trees in your compounds, you'd say that there are bats in the compound. Some of them they had bats in their gardens. Okay, they had bats in their gardens. Some of them, the bats were in these areas that are actually, I could call them community areas that are accessed by almost 70 to 80% of the community people. You can talk about schools, you can talk about health facilities, you can talk about places of worship. Okay, look at the churches, look at the mosques, you look at all those.
So the nature of the environment in which people live actually expose them to the bats.
Absolutely.
So in this study you highlighted one ethnic group, the Batwa, which is more exposed to bats than others. Why?
You see, the Batwa is, I can say they are an indigenous group of people. Much as the world is revolving or evolving, this group of people have actually failed. They have adamantly refused to evolve. If you have gotten a chance to visit some of the Batwa communities in Uganda, there is another, because these communities are looked at as indigenous, and the government, or I can say they have tried out to kind of support these people and get them from the kind of life they are living and try to upgrade. Some of they have constructed houses for them, but then they actually don't like staying in the houses. Yeah, it is a community well known for for being really local. They do still do things like hunting for food. You don't see them going to the market to buy food. They go to the bush, hunt their prey, and get something to eat. And as we said, Bundibugyo by location, it neighbors some of the national parks in Uganda, some of the most prominent actually national parks in Uganda. That is Semuliki, Rwenzori National Park, and
Queen Elizabeth.
And Queen Elizabeth. So those are really prominent national parks that actually get our country revenue. But then, much as they are tour guides there and people that actually ensure safety of the tourists when they are around, minimizing their exposure to such things. When it comes to the Batwa community, they take it as their home. They go there and hunt down these animals and get food for themselves. So what puts them more at risk is that these people actually get into direct contact with the bats. In this, I mean, they to them, bats is actually a delicacy. When I can recall, when we were interacting with these communities, they try to describe to us some of the bat species that they usually consume. They told us there are these really big bats. Scientifically, we refer to them as the fruit bats. Okay, these bats that actually consume these fruits in the compound. For them, they are quite big. They are quite big, and those are the ones that they actually like consuming. And if the guy really tells you, if he takes you through the process of how they prepare them until they're able to consume them, you'd really be very interested in even consuming one yourself. Yeah.
So that aside, they are eating bats.
Yeah.
I'm yet to understand, why do they eat these bats actually?
Of course, to them bats are a delicacy, and in this kind of Uganda, we are at some point we are going to be hit by serious food scarcity because of the ongoing things being brought about by climate change. So people are now struggling with having a balanced diet, because you're growing these crops and they are not coming through. So people are now trying to find other alternatives of protein, and if bats are in the vicinity, I mean, why not? And they are sweet. Personally, I haven't tasted one, but
They did convince you to taste.
Well, yeah, as a researcher, I did take that route, but yeah, that's what they said.
Given that these are still rural communities,
Yeah,
there are always some traditional beliefs in the local communities that
Yeah.
tend to shape the way that people behave, that tend to shape the things that people eat and etc.
yeah.
Are there some beliefs that shape people's perception on eating bats?
Yeah, I must say there were some beliefs and that people brought on board that were actually, some of them were attracting them towards interacting with bats, and on the other hand, others were actually taking them away. I'm going to start with those that were actually attracting them to eat bats. Some of the community members were saying that these bats, when you eat their meat, okay, especially for the men, they say when you eat their meat, it kind of enhances your manpower, and these are really interesting findings. And with the ongoing with the ongoing trend, even you see in Uganda, in town, when someone is moving around with their products and actually saying they increase manpower, honestly it is he really gets quite a good market. So most of the men were actually at high risk of getting exposed to bats because of that, because of saying it actually gives you manpower. And I mean, people would actually confirm this. They would say, like, yeah, when you eat this meat, yeah, things work out very well. Yeah, and to us it was actually interesting. It was very interesting. I can say, on the other hand, when you talk about things that actually deter people from actually consuming these bats, For the women, especially the pregnant women, it was said that when you consume a bat as a pregnant woman, you're most likely to give birth to a child whose face looks like a what? Like a bat. Yeah. So when a woman was pregnant, they would tell you, no. Even looking at it, she should actually be scared. Yeah, but sometimes it wasn't an option, because they are the same women that would actually, prepare that delicacy for the men. So to them, they would actually desist from actually eating it, but then they had no option, because it is them that have to cook for their men. There are other beliefs, other interesting beliefs, but I'm going to bring them up later.
Okay. So, people eating bats
Yeah.
in Bundibugyo, Midwestern Uganda, across the border with
Yeah.
DRC Congo. For me, that may look very unique.
Yeah.
Is it unique to this only society in Uganda? Are there other communities in Africa that interact and eat bats, and are those communities different from the one in Uganda?
Thank you so much. Growing up, we used to see these, bats. We used to see them around in our communities. Me, I grew up in Mbara. And honestly, bats were not new. And we used to see them in trees, in our houses. But not so much common as I really saw them in Bundibugyo. In Bundibugyo, it was really too much, and I think that's why they get this kind of interaction. And also Bundibugyo being surrounded by national parks, and reserves, and even in the communities, when you see there are areas where bats actually prefer to reside, including caves. They like, as I earlier said, they are nocturnals, and they like dark places, inside caves, and even in those game parks there are tropical forests, so they like those dark places. But then the challenge is people have actually encroached on these. Okay. People have actually encroached on this, and this has left them with no option. Okay, it has left them with no option other than to actually, now that the community has come to us, let's also go to what? Let's also go to them. So you find these in their plantations, in their compounds, in their houses, especially those houses that have ceilings. Villages in rural areas, you don't get to see houses that have ceilings, but near the proximities of the town, you get to see houses with ceilings, and these are the houses that the bats really want. When you go to these upgraded health facilities, they have, they have ceilings, and you go to a health facility that is actually supposed to be protecting people from such exposures, and you find it with what? You find it with bats. And what comes with the bats is the bat guano. These are the excreta, the urine, and then the feces. When these things go into a ceiling, they actually have the capacity of actually throwing that ceiling down, because it becomes too much. There is a lot of weight, and when this ceiling goes down, and there are people there, it kind of puts them at a very high risk. Also, the smell that comes with that excreta, it is very discomforting, and yeah, you might really not want to be with such in your house.
So people eat bats.
Yeah.
But for me, I know that bats, if I say bat right now, I wouldn't want to even get close to it, because of what I know that it spreads Ebola. When people are eating these bats and interacting with these bats, do they understand that these bats actually spread one of the most deadly diseases in the world?
Of course, that is public information, given what we have already gone through. I mean, all these zoonotic diseases, starting from Ebola, COVID, Mpox, Marburg. Even I mean, it was known everywhere that this COVID-19 outbreak, when it started from Wuhan, there was someone had consumed a bat, and then it started from there. Yeah, so people are aware that these bats are this dangerous. But I also must say that as of 2024, globally there are at least 1,400 bat species. Okay, 1,400 bat species, and all of these they all have their own characteristics. But I must say, in Bundibugyo District, what was most seen was, I can say, there were these fruit-eating bats. We can call them fruitivorous or nectivorous, and then there were also these insectivorous. This is one that pick small insects from the trees and all that. Okay, but of course you would find both the two kinds of bats in people's homes. But on the other hand, I must say that these bats are a very important part of the ecosystem. A very important part of the ecosystem. They carry out roles that are like pollination. As I say, they are some of them are insectivorous, so they even eat these mosquitoes that could have actually caused malaria in some of these communities. So they are very important parts of the components of the ecosystem, and if conserved, and actually if we learn to actually live with these bats, I must say the world would be a better place. So even as we would interact with these communities, what would actually tell these communities is, yes, bats are looked at as a vehicle for these zoonotic diseases. But then, like we are all mammals. We are all mammals. I don't know if you know that bats are mammals. Yeah, they are mammals, but then it is the only mammal that is capable of sustainable flight. Yeah, so that also makes it unique in a way. So, like us, they are also important. They are also important in this ecosystem. So, one of the things that came out is we need to learn how to live with these bats. Okay, it is not a matter of these bats have actually brought these very dangerous diseases for us. We need to evict them. We need to chase them away. No, we need to just know how to live with bats. Let them go to their natural habitats, and let us also maintain our natural habitats. When they go to the gardens and find, because Bundibugyo, they are farmers. They have coffee, they have cocoa, and these things need pollination. They need pollination to actually be successful. So when a bat comes through and goes to your garden and does its magic, tomorrow you'll be a very successful farmer. You get? So much as we are looking at them in a very bad way, they are very important to the ecosystem. Yeah,
that's something that I'm also learning from you. So you talked about 1,400 bat species.
Yeah.
Are there species that are the reservoirs of Ebola virus and others are not, or all of them can be reservoirs for Ebola virus?
Of course, there are some There are some that are there are some that are reservoirs, and of course others are not. Yeah, that I must say.
The ones that you found people interacting with, are they among the bats that spread Ebola, or they are not?
Yeah, they are. They are, because it is evident that some of those areas were the hotspots. Some of those areas, also the neighboring areas, because when you look at the recent Ebola outbreak in Mubende, Mubende is only a few kilometers from Bundibugyo, and also from DRC. So you might not, there might not be
we
direct,
haven't found that direct link.
but you see,
it could be there.
these diseases are moved by contacts, okay? They are moved by contacts, in that a contact, let's say a contact can move from Bundibugyo or wherever they have contacted that virus from, and the next day they can be in Kampala. So that's why we have things like contact tracing and those active surveillance aspects. Yeah.
You found that the other factors or cultural factors that influence people's eating or interaction with bats is something to do with wealth, but also witchcraft. How do bats come into play with those two factors?
Thank you so much. Now that you have actually brought it back, I talked about bats being associated with manpower, and also bats being pregnant women not eating bats because they could actually make them deliver babies that actually look like bats. So I'm going to further expound on the beliefs that were actually influencing human-bat interaction. On the side that actually increases exposure, some of the communities that we interacted with actually let us know that people who eat bats, they actually have a higher lifespan, okay, compared to those that don't. Of course, most of these were in the rural areas. You would go there and find a very good elderly man, and he would tell you, "Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I eat these bats and it is okay." They actually say you actually live long. And honestly, if you tell someone that, their love for bats really increases, despite the disease, the risk that they actually are going to get into. And also, they would say that drinking bat blood actually cures anemia in children. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Drinking bat blood cures anemia. So someone could come, would kill a bat and then get their blood, and they give to a child, and the next second the child is okay. Another thing is, yeah, you talked about it. Bats in houses are a source of wealth. Okay, like having bats in your house, it is a sign that you won't be poor. Okay, so that would actually it would, when you try to tell people these bats, it could be a risk. It could be a risk for exposure to this kind of diseases, and you tell them try to get bat repellents and things like that can actually get these bats out of your house. They would say that no.
Were people who had bats in their houses actually rich?
No, not really.
So it was just a perception.
It was just, as these beliefs. Then also, bat meat can be used as a love potion. That was also something that came out from these, interactions with the community. In that, when a woman prepares actually bat meat for the man, it could actually increase their their chemistry, you know. So
the man isn't going out.
yeah, the man isn't going anywhere. So it was used as, you know, to strengthen that chemistry and actually stabilize these families. But then on the other hand, saying that, you know, these bats, when a pregnant woman eats this bat, they are likely to give child to they are likely to give birth to a child who actually looks like a bat. And then bat consumption can actually cause miscarriages. When a pregnant woman consumes a bat, it could actually lead to a what? To a miscarriage. And then bats are sent by night dancers. So when some people would see, you know, bats in their houses, let's say for the first time, they would say, this is not a bat, it might be someone.
Someone coming.
It might be someone coming for me. So, hey, and then also bats being used for witchcraft. Okay, it's like, you know, going to these bafumu. Okay,
Which doctors? Yeah.
in other communities, you see, when you go to these witch doctors, they would send you for, you know, bring eggs from where, bring a tooth of a lion. But now these people in these communities, you bring for me like 1 or 2 bats, and then I will work on your challenge. So association of bats with some of these bad things was actually good for a good thing, in that it would kind of reduce that interaction. Yeah, but of course everything has good and bad. Some of the beliefs were actually attracting these people to further interact with bats, and others were actually chasing them away. And how we usually got to know about these beliefs is through these key informant interviews with some of the community leaders, some of these prominent leaders, religious leaders, chiefs of the Batwa, and all that. That's how we got to know, even through the focus group discussions with let's say men, women, and the youth. They used to fill us in on some of the things. Yeah.
Okay, so you found that people in urban areas are actually more exposed to bats than people in rural communities.
Yeah.
Why and what does this tell us?
Okay. Thank you. And as I said, bats are nocturnal. Bats are nocturnals, and they like dark places. Okay. So in these rural areas, due to our modern technology, people have come up with very fancy, very fancy bridges, very fancy. When they are constructing roads, they put those culverts, to regulate the flow of water. Our urban areas have these really nice health facilities that have ceilings in them. They are schools, they are churches. So bats were actually attracted by those. You'd find bats under culverts, quite a number of bats under the culverts of the roads, in the houses, especially houses with ceilings. Honestly speaking, it is hard to find a house with a ceiling up the mountain in a rural area. Bundibugyo is a very hilly area, so most of the nice houses are within the urban and peri-urban areas. So you'd find bats in the ceilings, and sometimes it was not a fact that you had to see them there, because we used to visit those households during day. Okay, we used to visit those households during day, and during day it is hard to actually see a bat. Okay, but then when you go to an area and look at the flow, see the fecal matter from these bats. Okay, go to the ceiling, feel that smell. Okay, feel that bad smell, and the odor. you'd automatically know that there have been quite a number of bats here, and even after interacting with the people, they would tell you, yeah, bats come around here, especially in the evenings, and yeah.
So, given the presence of bats in people's houses, in schools, in health centers, how big is the risk of spillover of zoonotic diseases in a place like Bundibugyo or any other place with whose community profile is the same as that of Bundibugyo?
Yeah, of course, the risk is very high. The risk is very high. The risk of the risk of disease is actually very high. But of course, as you know, our communities, having a solution to these challenges starts from the district. Okay, the district has quite a number of offices there. Starting from the health office, the veterinary office, the social works, and community development. So we have to bring all those on board and actually, first let them know how risky it is to be interacting, to be living with these bats as if everything is okay. Okay.
You recommend a one health intervention approach?
Yeah, everyone has to be on board.
How does that look like in a practical setting, as a practical intervention?
Okay, thank you. One health as the concept is it brings together human health, animal health, and environmental health. So these three actually brought together, and of course they have something common there. But then when we look at it practically, it is more of a multidisciplinary or multi-sectoral approach of solving these challenges. Let's say you look at I'm going to use this district at a district level. Let's say a district like Bundibugyo. It has the health department. It has the veterinary or the animal health department. It has a department in agriculture. It has a department in social work. It has this community development. It has these commercial offices. If those people really work together, and they have this the end in mind, let's try to minimize interaction between humans and bats, and also more of further educate the community, and front this social behavior change. So because it is a matter of mindset change. Yeah, if these people are aware that yes, these bats are they could be reservoirs of some of these deadly viruses, people will actually themselves try to minimize. But however much you put these interventions without actually guiding the community, to me it doesn't actually work. So every intervention starts with the community, and it's more of mindset change, starting with our community leadership, and then going down as you reach the person on ground. Yeah.
What role can local media or community radios play in this situation of improving the awareness of bats and the risk they spread?
Yeah, of course, local media is very important. I must say it is very important, because even you can look at most of these interventions that have been coming through during the lockdown in 2020-2021. People were actually getting most of the information through the media. You could look at radios, you could look at televisions, even the internet, because there was no more, moving around, and in an area that is affected by an outbreak, they actually minimize, moving around and stuff like that. So local media plays an important role, one in community awareness, letting these people know how does this disease actually spread, okay, what actually causes the disease itself, okay, what causes the disease, how the disease spreads, what are the prevention measures, things like the social distance, the hand washing, ensuring hygiene, and then avoiding contact with people, things like handshaking, hugging, and all that. So local media plays an important role. If that thing is, it comes along every day, let's say every, at least each program, at least they try to say something like that, and then maybe along the way they invite experts, okay, opinion experts about someone that is very knowledgeable about that disease, and takes them through the science. Usually people are not very interested in the science, but at least someone tells them about the burden. Now, how is this affecting the world, okay, in terms of economics, in terms of how many people are dying. So you keep the community alert. They know that okay, people are actually dying, okay, people are actually dying because of this disease. Then we need to look at the prevention measures, okay, look at the churches, look at the schools. People go so much to churches, so you realize that every Sunday when people go to church, they have to get that kind of information through the religious leaders. So I think local media it really plays an important role, and if it is strengthened and supported, it could actually really be a good thing. Yeah.
Last from me, I'm always fascinated by research that you people do. Sometimes people pick small things and they base their studies on it. If you had an opportunity to go back to this community, what else would you study about bats and human interactions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If I must say, this work was actually a part of a bigger project called Strategies to Prevent Spillover Stops. It was being funded by USAID and implemented by Africa One Health University Network, that is AfroHUN. It has connections within School of Public Health and here at COVAB. So we had actually it was looking at quite a number of components, starting from there were two components. We are looking at the research, and then getting those results from research, and then actually doing actually intervening. Okay, there is this huge gap between research and intervention. People usually go out to the communities and conduct their research studies, and that work just stays in the book banks, in the repositories, and nothing is done in the community. So ours was twofold. It was looking at the research component, and then we use that evidence that we get, and then we intervene. So one of the things that we're doing is bat monitoring. Okay, bat monitoring, in that we go to these communities and actually identify where there are bat roosts. Okay, where these bats actually stay. A bat roost can be defined as an area where a colony of bats is. You can say if bats are like in that tree, quite a number of them, let's say like 100, 500, now that is a bat roost. Okay, so would map that using GIS, and actually someone would be knowing actually in this location there is a what? There is a bat roost. So another thing we would look at is the numbers. How many bats are in that what? How many bats are in that bat roosts? Are they these big bats, the insectivore, the fruit bats, or these small ones? Okay, so would take note of those things, and then it would actually help in mapping and knowing. In Bundibugyo District, there are this number of bat roosts, because Bundibugyo has almost it has more than 27 sub-counties, I think, but then we're only looking at three. We're only looking at three sub-counties. That is Ntandi, Harugale, and Burondo. So research usually tells us that it is sampling. We sampled 3 out of those that could actually be representative, and we actually selected them because they are very close to the what? They are very close to the national parks, so really high at risk. But of course, it kind of does a disservice for the rest of the what? Of the sub counties that we didn't look at. But then, if there was a chance, and would go there, I think it would be very important to look at what is going on in the other in the other sub counties. You'd actually realize, you'd get interesting findings. You'd realize that even these other sub counties are even at a higher at a higher risk. So that is also something that I would also think about. Another thing, mindset change. Mindset change is something that we really need to work on in these communities, changing their mindsets. Because you see, when an outbreak happens, it kind of causes fear. I can say panic in the community, and these people, someone can even just merely look at a bat and actually kill it there and then. You get? It brings that kind of fear, hatred. If you recall in COVID, okay? If you recall in COVID, having someone who has COVID in your house, and when over the radios they are saying, if you have someone, you report. You just report. If you hear someone sneezing, you just call us. You get? It brings that kind of stigmatization. Eh? Someone is affected, and then they can't actually come out in the open clearly because they know they can be taken up and they don't know what happens to them. Okay, so if there is mindset change around that, I think it would be really, really very important, and people can know how do we go about this. If there is a contact, what are the procedures of actually reporting this person, and then they can be supported. Okay, because sometimes these people would be taken up by police. They'd be taken, this is a contact, police, they take you, and that is really scaring. It is really scaring, and given the mode of spread of these diseases, it really puts people at a very high risk. You can actually be hated by the community because of so now you look at people having bats in their houses, and if you don't handle it in a very appropriate manner, people can you look at that man has bats in his house. I mean, he's not a good person. Okay, so what would actually, as I told you, we're bringing out a perspective of how to live safely with bats. Okay, how to live safely with bats. Let them perform their very good ecosystem roles, and then let the humans also keep living life as usual. If bats are in your house, you can put bat repellents, okay, to minimize the frequency of the number of times that they come to your house, and eventually they will go. Then those people that have actually that are encroaching on bats, that are encroaching on bat habitats, the caves, I mean, just have to stay away from the caves, because people People love caves. They look at them as, tourist attractions. They like going there, but you don't know what you're going to get from there. There are over 1,400 bat species, but there will be that one bat that will have gotten its virus from somewhere, and you never know. An outbreak can start from there, because people will usually do things on a daily, and we don't think they can affect us. But there is that one day that something happens and it actually changes the status quo. Okay, so we don't have to get tired. We just have to keep reminding the community that the things are actually true, and we have to actually be cautious about them. Yeah.
Thank you. This has been a very insightful conversation. I hope you get more funding and support to do more fascinating papers that can bring me to interview us again.
Yeah,
thank you. It has been a pleasure hosting you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And honestly, it has been a pleasure interacting with you, and I look forward to further interactions. Maybe if you can allow me, I would like to extend appreciation to a number of people. I would like to appreciate some of my direct supervisors who are actually supervising me on this work. I would talk about Dr. Shamila Namusisi, Dr. Muleme James, Dr. Kato Charles Drago, and Professor Kancha Clovis. They were really instrumental in this, and of course, as you say, this is a team thing. I'm only a lead author. I'm only a lead author for this paper, but there are so many people that were actually part of this work, even starting from the community. People that we're interacting with. You look at the district, people that actually allowed us to do this work in their district. We really appreciate them, and yeah.
We have come to the end of the show. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.